Hi, everyone. Welcome to Toronet. We're going to jump right in, and I'm going to speak a little bit about what Toronet is for those who are watching for the first time. All right. While I'm doing that, I just want to remind everybody, go on mute, and then there'll be a time for you to come off shortly. All right, so we are Toronet. We are a virtual platform that democratizes career resources in tech for college students. And our mission is to promote diversity in tech by providing resources, education, and coaching to diverse communities. We do this by providing a consistent virtual platform for tech leaders and professionals to educate our attendees remotely nationwide. Every Friday, we meet at 12 noon Central Standard Time to learn from speakers, ask questions, and share opportunities. So Toronet partners with educational institutions and nonprofits to lower barriers of access to opportunities and education for non-technical and technical careers in the tech industry. And that is our logo that I finally got created at the end of the semester. So it's done. We are sponsored by LeBeau Labs. I am LeBeau, the founder of LeBeau Labs, marketing internship. And then we're also sponsored by Advancing Seed of La Habra, California, a great nonprofit organization that seeks to also provide economic development and personal development, professional development for underserved communities. We're always going to be looking for speakers coming up for next fall. So if you'd like to recommend someone, you can do so at that link. These are some of the people that helped us this semester make this program possible. Started off with Dr. Tyson McMillan, a professor at TCC, Trinity River Campus. And here are some of our other contributors who have done an excellent job behind the scenes, helping host, research, and facilitate in many other ways. And we're grateful for all of them. So today we're going to hear from Ron Shepard. Then we're going to have a Q&A, followed by Nikki Trufant Wade. We might switch it. We might have Nikki to start if Ron may need a second to get his slide together. Ron, come off of mute. Let me know if you're ready to go, or do I need to go to Nikki first?
I'm ready to go for the most part, but you can go with Nikki first, just fine.
Okay. All right, perfect. So who is Nikki Trufant Wade? Nikki Wade is the proprietor and chief firebrand of Zipporah Media. With over several years in the industry, Nikki has accumulated a plethora of experiences. She specializes in digital marketing, public relations, and reputation management. However, Nikki experiences has led her to have expertise in numerous other areas. These areas include marketing, campaign development and management, corporate social responsibility, corporate reputation building, website content management, social media, partnership development, special events, and entertainment management. So today, Nikki is going to speak about building your personal brand presence online. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and let Nikki share her screen. Nikki, you have the floor.
It's saying it's disabled. Okay. Okay, everybody. Thanks for inviting me to speak, LeBeau. Today, I'm going to cover the topic of your personal branding, going beyond your resume. So as tech professionals, we are in a really, really good sweet spot. First of all, our industry is broad, so you can pretty much fit into any category. But with COVID-19 happening, it's made the need to go digital that much more. And also for for companies to just expand at this moment in time because everything's gone online. So not only are recruiters looking for folks who have proper skills for the job, but also they're looking for soft skills as well. And the way you sell that is through your personality. So one thing to keep in mind, two things that are going to be part of your online presence and your offline presence are one, your personality, and two, your resume. The thing about your resume is there's a lot of companies out here that are using ATS systems in order to screen all of those resumes that come through. And because of the way a lot of resumes are formatted, 75% of qualified applicants don't even get seen by the recruiter. So you're missing out if you don't have your resume formatted correctly. But there's some things that you can do about that. You're going to tailor make your brand to what it is that you do and who you are as a person and how you want to drive your career. So first and foremost, that resume. You're going to want to create multiple resumes for a couple of different reasons. One, you're going to want to have one that's very, very plain so that it's not going to get shuffled out by those ATS systems. Also, you're going to want to tailor those resumes to the specific job that you are applying for. That's another way a lot of applicants get weeded out, is just having one simple resume. Make sure you're tailoring those resumes exactly to what is being said in those job applications. And also, don't overlook your cover letter. That's the time for you to really showcase your personality and some of those soft skills we were talking about. Another thing is to be present online. What you're going to want to do is really focus in on any of those places where the people within your particular career's community is congregating. So, for example, for me, a lot of digital marketers congregate on Twitter. A lot of thought leaders are on Twitter. So that's where I am a lot of the time. It's also going to give you the opportunity to really connect with people, as well as to learn what's going on in the industry. Things change so much within the digital marketing sphere that if I was not on Twitter, a lot of things that I would not see until much, much later. Also, you're going to want to create profiles for yourself online. And you're going to want to be very, very purposeful about this. Of course, you're going to want to be on those places like LinkedIn and Indeed. Those are going to kind of be your catch-all digital places where you can put everything. It doesn't have to be so tailored like we were talking about with the resumes. But also, if you are on the creative side of the tech industry, you are going to want to have things like online portfolios, and you're going to want to make sure those stay updated. Perfect example of this is an opportunity that I just started a couple of weeks ago. I had basically been updating my places online, didn't even know about this position because it never went open. But some folks ran across my information and gave me a call because of all the things that I had posted online. And to go in about those soft skills and kind of those things with your personalities and the things that make you tick, it wasn't necessarily my job skills that really made them pick up the phone and call me. What made them pick up the phone and call me was the fact that I've been in junior league and I've done child advocacy work, and I've also worked on campaigns. So all of those things, the operations manager told me, hey, we knew you would be able to get in there with very little budget and kind of figure out some things that we're not doing now and be able to make it land. So you always want to make sure whatever your latest and greatest is being updated online. Also within those communities, you'll be able to connect and converse with the leaders in your industry. Kind of spoke on this a little bit more, but even more so within the tech industry, it's not like the job market was 10, 15 years ago, where really all you could do was apply to stuff that was posted. In many cases, jobs are not being posted online. What's happening is companies are depending on their employees to bring in talent that will fit with the company culture, as well as be able to do what it is that the job is calling for. So you definitely want to connect with your community, because you never know when an opportunity is going to come up, and that's going to be the way the door opens to your dream job. Keep it relevant and be mindful of your post. One thing I definitely want to stress is that the employee you will be inside those four walls is also the employee you want to be online. We've seen countless examples over the last year, especially, of people being let go from their jobs because of things they've posted online. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be super quiet and not express your beliefs or the things that you're passionate about within your social media profiles or other places online. But just keep in mind, if it's something that doesn't necessarily fit with the type of job that you're wanting or the type of company that you want to be a part of, then you may not want to post it. You may want to have that one account that you can say whatever on, and then the one that's a little bit more professional, that's a little bit more broadcast. For example, with myself, like I said, I spend a lot of time really on Instagram and Twitter. And for me, a lot of the discussion happens to be within the realm of policy and politics. But that is okay for my particular brand, because I also do a lot of digital marketing work within politics. So you have to fine tune your particular brand in that case. So just keep in mind, your brand is what people will say about you when you're not in the room, when you're not there. So make sure you always keep in mind that whatever you put out on the internet or other places. So again, I'm Nikki. Thank you so much for having me. And if you want to connect with me, you're more than welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn. And I'm also on Instagram and Twitter.
Yay, thank you so much, Nikki. That was super informative. If you have questions for Nikki or comments, could you please put those in the chat box? I'm going to start off the questioning. And everybody else can begin putting that in. Then we're going to read those off. You spoke about the ATS resume format check. That is so like surprising. When you think about that, I have two questions on that. Which types of companies use that type of system? And the second thing is, what are they disqualifying for with that system?
Pretty much every company you can imagine, especially the bigger ones, like the Toyotas, all of those companies that have moved down recently, they are for sure using those systems. So think about it this way. If you are, in order to apply for a job, you have to go in and log in somewhere and upload your resume and fill out a form. Anything other than LinkedIn, submit me for this job, it's an ATS system. So keep that in mind. And you also want to think of it in terms of almost like SEO. They're looking for certain keywords. So if you, example of this, like in the digital marketing sphere, because job titles are so, you could be a digital marketing coordinator, and you really might be doing primarily SEO. Whereas at another company, it could be a digital marketing coordinator, and really, no, you're the digital marketing manager, or you're the social media manager. That wording, it really depends on how that company that you're applying for is actually defining that job position. That's why I was saying it's important to look at whatever the job description is that they're
use those
for that
keywords.
If you got to switch some stuff up, switch some stuff up. You know from reading it whether or not, oh yeah, this is what I've been doing for the last year. Let me go ahead and change this word from manager to coordinator, because this is pretty much comparable to what the job description is.
Use their language.
Because that's what, when they go and set that into the ATS system, they're going to be using those keywords. So It's definitely not lying, because it's still true to what you're doing, what you've done, what your experience is, what your skills
Mhm.
are. However, the system is the system. And if you think about it, these recruiters are getting so many applicants and so many resumes that it's hard for them to filter through. So that's what they're doing. So just take that extra step to keep yourself from going into the trash heap when you actually might be overqualified for the position.
Powerful, powerful. That is very interesting. Okay. So when you say the ATS formatting, so it's not like there's an ATS template to do your resume. What you mean is formatting it, adjusting it to the actual description
Right.
of the job. Right.
Right.
Okay.
So say for instance, like you go in, because most people do their resumes through Microsoft Office or Microsoft Word. You find the most plain formatted resume, because that's basically what it's gonna pull in. If you even go with one that's slightly fancier, or not even what you would consider fancy, but maybe it's bold type your name at the top and there's a line and then it lists out your contact information, the system could very well read that and chop it up. For example, anybody who's applied for a job recently, you may have noticed where it asks you to upload your resume and it pulls that information into like the form, and you'll notice the job title is in the spot where it should be your name, and the description is in another box that it shouldn't be in. The state is completely open. The dates are, it didn't even pick up the dates. That's why that
Are you
form
saying
looks
when I
so
make a cute
choppy.
resume on Canva, that
Yes.
might cause a problem?
Yes. So here's the solution to that. This is why I was saying you want multiple. You have your plain text. That's the one you update when you want to, so you can pop it into that ATS. When you get that call saying we want you to come in for the interview, when you respond to that, that's when you put in, you email with your response, the cute resume, because that, when they put that in their hands, that's going to make you stand out. When they get that in their hands, they're going to be like, oh, this is cute, let me read it. And when you walk into that interview and hand them the resume, bring the cute resume on the nice paper. That's how you get around that. But for my tech people, when you think about that ATS system, think about it in terms of the dumbest, smartest machine on the face of the planet. And think about it in terms of SEO, old school SEO, when you used to search on Google and you had to be very, very finite with what you were searching because it wasn't that intuitive yet. That's kind of where the ATS systems are right now.
Wow. Wow, that is so wise, that you can still use the cute resume, but you gotta use it at different spaces. Mohammed, you had a question. You can go ahead and come off mute and ask.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to Nikki. And I literally want to say to any students that'll be watching this video to please listen to what she's saying, because I didn't even know this until last year. And I've spent all these years in college sending these hundreds of resumes, not even knowing that about all of this. So please listen to her. This is very, very important. I have two questions. The first one was, you kind of answered part of it, but I think it might be important if you can go a little deeper, like based on the ATS system. So would you really recommend going plain, like black and white resume, as long as you have the right keywords with no fancy things at all?
Right. Go into Microsoft Word, find the plainest template, and that's what you use. You'll know if you've gotten it right if, say, you upload it and when it takes you to that form, because usually when they're using an ATS system, it's going to have you upload it and then it's going to immediately take you to fill out your name, fill out your experience, that type of thing. When you get to that page, if stuff is like in the wrong spot, like it's nothing for especially when you get down to what is your experience, where the job title will be in the spot where the name of the company is supposed to be, or it only picked up part of what your job description was, or won't even pick it up at all. That's a sign that the ATS system is not reading your resume. So the best thing to do is find the plainest that you can find. And that's what you use as your one that you edit in order to upload to those ATS systems. Because, and this is another stat to keep in mind, this is how competitive our industries are. On average, you can submit your resume 30 to 50 jobs before you get a call to do an on the phone interview, that screening interview, before you actually get to the real interviews. It can be a beatdown. I've been there. We've all been there. It's a beatdown, especially when you look at these job descriptions and you're like, I am overqualified for this. It's not you. Let me tell you, it's not you. It is the system. It is the ATS system 9 times out of 10. So that's how you get around that, is just the plainest text to upload. And then, of course, don't forget about that cover letter, because that's your chance to really show your personality, those soft skills and those hard skills that you've got. Because a lot of times before they even look at the resume, they're going to look at your cover letter. If you make it through that first round, they're going to look at your cover letter. Take time with your cover letter. And then when you get that email from the recruiter saying, hey, we saw you applied for this job. Do you have a couple of minutes to talk to me about the position? Yes, I do. By the way, just wanted to make sure you had my updated resume. Here it is. That's when you send them the cute resume.
Right.
So yeah, keep that in mind. You're thinking in terms of bots, and any of you guys who are tech folks who work with coding and bots and everything else, you know what I'm talking about. It's programmed to read a certain way, and it's not going to be intuitive to read the resume that most recruiters will gravitate towards if they've got resumes in front of them, just based off the looks of it.
Definitely.
That is insane. And now that's going to be messing with everybody's mind after this, because everybody's going to be like, I wonder if, like, that was the reason.
I say that because it's a beat down. It's a beat down. It's not, y'all. It's not that, oh, they don't want to hire me. What am I doing wrong? I've had those moments. 9 times out of 10, they didn't even see your stuff because of the ATS system.
Wow. That should make people feel a little bit better, though, because they probably were like, well, forget them. I know I thought that. But thank you, Nikki, for that. Just so much education, and you guys, you presenters, you have no idea. You are educating more people than you think, because besides the few people that are here today, we have our program, our training program is international, and we will continue to use these lessons for their professional development. So thank you so much for this contribution, because it will help more people than you can imagine.
You're welcome.
Yes, ma'am. That was so good. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Ron. Let me first go ahead and make you a co-host. And definitely, if you can, Nikki, stay on, and because we have some other discussions that we're going to get to later on.
I will be here.
All right, perfect. All right, Ron, you got it.
All right, just gonna try and do the screen share, and still holding disabled. Second.
Oh, my bad. I'm supposed to go back to my share. Hold on, let me go back to my share so that I can introduce Ron properly. All right, let's go back. Okay, so who is Ron Shepard? Well, over 10 years of military service in the United States Air Force, enforcing and implementing operational communication, physical and cybersecurity practices, obtained multiple degrees in information technology and aeronautical science during my enlistment, with certifications ranging from certified advanced security practitioner to Six Sigma black belt. lean process improvement. Oh, I like that. Became a multi-business owner during my years of service and continued to expand my operations with the Department of Defense after completing my enlistment as a cyber threat hunter. Founded Secure Nation in 2017 to support enterprise-level cybersecurity to small and medium businesses, as well as affordable education for global communities. Established a military transition assistance internship program, partnered with the DoD Skill Bridge program that provides certifications and real-world experience to members existing in service. Highly invested in supplying STEM programs and resources to low-income communities to change the distribution of innovative technological growth across the US and select international countries. That's why he's here. So looking to continue to help those in need and create a new wave of cyber technology. Very impressive. So today, Ron is going to be not talking about building a stunning resume site. That's my bad. Ron, I had it wrong anyway. Go ahead and tell us, excuse me, tell us what your topic is today.
Hi. Well, yeah, it wasn't really resume building, but so sorry for anyone who's looking for. No, it's fine. Sorry for anyone who's looking forward to that. My topic is actually on the gaining experience when you don't have experience, when it comes to going into that career field or trying to step forth from college or your certification or vocational tracks to help you have a competitive edge once you go into that environment. We'll also be pairing that with cybersecurity and understanding the evolution of these cyber threats and the technology that's really kind of helping and working with us all. But you have to be in tune with it if you're going to have a nice leg up once it comes to your organizations that you're trying to attach to, or industries that you're trying to get in, or something that you're trying to develop on your own as an entrepreneur. So let me go ahead and share this PowerPoint. Showing disabled. Let's try. Would you mind selecting my other name up there so I can share that PowerPoint?
Hold on one second. There we go.
Okay, thank you. Beautiful. Okay, so first thing I want to do is I want to share a little bit about Secure Nation. Secure Nation is a company that is heavily invested in the development of the new IT professionals of the future. And so with that being said, we're going to take you on a little bit of I don't do slides that are more than 8 slides. So, so you don't have to worry about Death Fire PowerPoint. Enough military service did that to me. We're going to talk about the evolution of cyber threats. And we're going to go through how you can best fit yourself, prepare yourself for going into this space. Now, if you're in college right now, or if you're in some kind of technical training, or if you're just at home, there's a couple of things that you can do to help prepare yourself for the evolution into this space. Everyone wants to get into cybersecurity. I've had system administrators as well as engineers I've had 15, 20 years in their set space. They're wondering how to get into the cybersecurity field. And a lot of people believe that there's this secret map to getting there, but it's really not. A lot of these items are actually kind of straightforward. It just seems so simple that it may not seem true, but it is, trust me. All right. Just another brief touch on myself. Even though it was an amazing introduction, I felt like I should have been walking in with smoke or something. But this is, let's go forward with this. Yes, I have served in the United States Air Force a little over 11 years. I founded Secure Nation upon my exiting or transitioning when it comes to the Air Force in 2016. And officially, as it was stated in the bio, officially it's in 2017. It's just that I had a bet, which is actually kind of a funny story. And it shows how my character and how each one of you with ambitions can definitely succeed in life by far. The bet was that I could build a program that had a 90% effective rate for getting people certified in Security Plus, as well as Network Plus. The Air Force had, at least Davis Monthan Air Force Base, as well as Ellsworth Air Force Base, pass percentage of 33%. And so I challenged the commander to allow me to continue my studies, which required me to take 30 days off if I can build a program to do this. And I did, and I was able to take that time off. So, and that's pretty much why I have 2016 in there, so people get a good understanding. Certified Advanced Security Practitioner. I put that one up there because it's one of the most relatable, transparent tracks for people to see. That is wide open through CompTIA. I do have a CISSP, but sometimes when you tell people that, they want to go after it, which is perfectly fine. But sometimes they get hit with a hurdle, understanding that you require either a recommendation, an endorsement, or a certain amount of time before you can actually get the official certification for that. Yes, I do cybersecurity instructing for the private sector and government sectors. I have trained threat hunters for the ICS environment, as well as I was a threat hunter for ICS environment. Now I'm a global threat hunter for the Department of Justice, as well as the Department of Defense. Then we have the certifications for, these are a couple more certifications, but there's no reason to really talk about those. Now, I want to talk about the threat map and how you can start focusing some of your educational knowledge, your additional continuing education, as well as your expansion on how you will go about developing yourself in your expansion. And so we're going to just touch on a few things like social engineering and Trojans. Social engineering, if anyone's ever heard of it, or if you haven't heard of it, social engineering is a platform where you use human behavior, human traits, as well as using their emotions and anything else that you have in your tool chest that you're familiar with, that is in a human factor to deliver an attack or gain information. This is where you'll see that you will have phishing emails. You will have these phishing emails or spear phishing that target individuals, where you have the spoof phone calls, where everyone gets hit with the car's extended warranty. I know someone's got that at least once inside of the rooms. And so when it comes to that, there's a lot of different things that that happens in social engineering, something to be aware of, something to study. There's a lot of free material on that as well. Poorly tuned and unpatched software. If you're going through, let's say you are going through a computer science major, or if you're an information systems major, or if you're going through computer engineering, understanding how software operates, the coding operates, as well as understanding the tuning, also known as hardening, how that operates and works outside these environments is very important. We already mentioned phishing and multi-tiered spam. Spam is normally known as a nuisance, but multi-tiered spam means it's going to lead you down a path. If you were to work with, say, SANS, or you're working with EC Council, and you went to a conference, that conference, they're going to start spamming you with advertisements because you put your name and your email on a piece of paper. Well, what's going to happen is that you're going to have to be careful, because you're going to trust that information. You're going to trust that communication. And with that inherent trust, hackers or malicious actors are going to want to have you continue to click into those trusted sites, but they're going to put a link, they're going to put something near that's going to take you to a malicious site. And that's something to be aware of, something to educate yourself on, because that would help you when you sit down for a security position, a entry level or tier 2, 3, or senior position. They're going to ask you some of these questions. They're going to ask you, what do you know about some of these things? So it's very important to have that understanding. Then we have the network traveling worms. Network traveling worms are entities that replicate themselves throughout different networks without human interaction. Understanding how to identify these, looking at bandwidth, looking at your throughput, all these different things are very important, simple things to take in as you're learning and developing yourself in the IT professional space. And then we have the APT. APT is Advanced Persistent Threat, and we'll touch on that. The APT, or Advanced Persistent Threats, these threats are extremely advanced individuals or organizations. So if you're going into that cyberspace and you're looking to build your resume, you're looking to build your experience, build your talking points, it is extremely important for you to have an understanding on what some of the current cyber threats are, or at least within the last 5 years. Organizations, just like my organization, when we hire someone, we like to see how in tune they are when it comes to the cyber climate, as well as the digital environments. And so when you take that approach, make sure that you understand at least the cyber kill chain model on how these threats operate. And you can do that by, there's a website called Darknet or Dark Reading. Dark Reading is a website that allows you to look at all those different articles. You can see what kind of attacks were there, what kind of exploits were going on, how you do mitigations, and some things to look into. For instance, if you were to go for a security analyst job, when you look at a security analyst position and you look inside that job listing, the ones that are advertised, as Nikki provided some amazing information in her presentation, the ones that are advertised, there's a good way to start weaponizing yourself so that you can be prepared for that interview, you can be prepared for that job. And a lot of these items are open source, or they have trials that allow you to do so. And so to go briefly through the cyber kill chain model, you have your reconnaissance period. This is where your threat actor will do passive and aggressive or active utilization of tools so you can gain information about the organization, people, practices. A lot of stuff happens. I actually jumped off Facebook about 10 years ago because I started realizing that threat actors were using Facebook's check-ins to map out people's traffic and how they were mapping out where they went, where they go, what they're doing. And that was something that we started fighting against when it came to human trafficking. Then you have weaponization, calculated assessments and tools. That's exactly what it is. You're going to go through a tired tool test. You're going to use something like, for training, you'll use Kali, you'll use Kali Linux, you may use Parrot OS, you may use the SIFT, you may use all those, but when a hacker or yourself, something that's going to help you grow inside your career and building up that presence, is going to be using these tools and then starting to branch off and building your own tools. That's what organizations look for when it comes to cyber professionals. Believe it or not, when you see something on that resume that says 15 years of experience, but a system hasn't been out for 15 years that they want you to have experience in, and it doesn't make a lot of sense, most of the time, they're looking for you to have that ambition to apply anyway and just show your level of knowledge when it comes to a system. And so that's how those items work. And then you have your delivery, your exploitation, installation, and command and control. These are all the different actions that a threat will go through as they go through those processes of trying to exploit an environment. Understanding your threat. This is all very open stuff. The cyber kill chain model is on Lockheed Martin's website. They actually enter in all the curriculums when it comes to certification now, but that's a good way to go forward. I just wanted to show a brief national situation so everyone can have their eyes open so they understand where you could fit in, where you can step in to help organizations, whether it's the educational, whether it's government, whether it's private sector, whether it's SMB, which is your small and medium-sized business areas. And as you see here, these are all different types of breaches across the country. From ransomware, you'll see things from 2019. I made this short because it goes all the way up to last month, but 2019, you can see that there are judicial branches in Connecticut. You can see that there are school districts that have been hacked. You can see that there are police departments in Atlanta that were taken down. You can see that there's a lot of different things that are happening in a cyber climate, and you are needed. So don't ever feel like if you're applying for something, Nikki stated before, take information from Nikki, take information from this platform so I can help you understand how to gear yourself to be in position, and then start equipping yourself with what they're actually looking for. The new defense tactics, something that is very near to my heart, is using open source and proprietary fusion. This is important for you. Have you ever looked on a job listing and saw something like, I need to have knowledge in McAfee Enterprise, or I need to have knowledge in Splunk or Graylog or the Elastic Stack, or I need to be familiar with ServiceNow, any of those different major platforms. Most of these platforms have developer portals and open source software, which means that you can use their documentation portals, you can download the free instances or use their free online sources to get extremely familiar with these systems and tools. This allows you to walk into the interview and actually have already touched these items without spending a dime. The one thing that you're using is time. And so that's what's really important. And then custom developments. If you start your own personal projects, believe it or not, organizations truly appreciate that. When I went into the first job interview that I've ever had, someone said, okay, what kind of information do you have? What did you know about this organization? What made you apply for this job? I said, well, when I was at home, I went to a Goodwill, found some switches. I went to a pawn shop, found some cheap stuff. I went to, just swap meets, found computers. I started doing some programming, rebuilding them, started building this system. And then I started recreating everything that it seemed you guys needed and wanted. And then I started doing things with my colleagues. Well, if you do that, it shows initiative. It also shows that you're a self-starter. It shows that you are going to find a way to get something done and learn something despite the fact that you're not in a conventional environment. And so that's really important. Then you have your increased awareness and accountability. Self-accountability and self-awareness when it comes to cyber and cybersecurity is extremely important. It does not matter what degree you have. It does not matter what certifications you have obtained. If you are not performing cybersecurity practices and you go for a cybersecurity position, I would say about 80% of the companies will not hire you because you are now becoming a vulnerability to that organization. So making sure that this is something that you're going to do, you're also embodying it in your everyday lifestyle. Monitoring on multi-platform endpoints. If you have a house and you have siblings or you have children or just you, a significant other and friends, practice trying to monitor and secure their environments. See what you can do to expand that level of knowledge of yours so that when you walk and sit at the interview table, because once you follow the instructions, you get everything going to get that interview, now you have to talk. Now you have to present your knowledge base. And so you want to get as much practice as you can. You have deceptive defense and dynamic postures. Pretty much the overall reason for this is be creative. Do not be scared to be creative. Do not be afraid to challenge and take some time. Now, this is something that I keep in all my slideshows. We don't have to worry about it as much, but Secure Nation's mission is to help out. We're working with this platform to help. If there's any books or resources, you can reach out to this organization and then they'll coordinate with us and Secure Nation. We can give you guys some free books, ebooks, stuff like that. We have thousands of books that we give away all the time, from programming to professional development to virtualization, machine learning, artificial intelligence, all those different things. So feel free to ask, and ask and you shall receive when it comes to us. And with a good old Yoda, do or do not, there is no try. So.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ron. That was so informative. And I like how you had that like, I don't know what that was, that background, but it looked like metal or something. It was cool. Made it look official. I don't have any questions. If anybody has questions, put them in the chat box. I have comments. So what Ron is giving us today is alternative ways to make up for the lack of years of experience requirement that jobs are asking for. And so basically, one of the things I took from it was when you see those years requirements, don't let that stop you. Don't let that stop you from applying, because what you can do instead, and honestly, in the past, that was a block for me. Like, they said I need 5 years in this. Oh, well, I'm out, so it's important that people don't use that as an excuse to say, well, they wouldn't want me anyway. Because what he said was, in those instances, when you get in front of them, you can show them that you've used initiative, and you can show them that you are a self-starter by giving examples. So in case that does come up on the interview, you could say, well, maybe I don't have this experience, but let me tell you about the experiences I do have. And then also, I love how he talked about refreshing yourself on whatever it is that they're asking you to have experience on. So whether it's a certain SaaS tool or some type of software, I didn't know you can literally just go on that website and download some of their information and just kind of educate yourself on it. And then even though you may not be necessarily, you may not have experience with working with it, at least you know something about it, you familiarized yourself. So that's important. Ron, did you have any more? There you go, Mohammed. Mohammed, go ahead. He had something to add.
Yeah, I have a quick question, and thank you, Ron, for that little insight. That was pretty powerful, especially what Level was saying about that experience. I think we've all been there some way, somehow. But I think my question is, I have two questions. The first one, at the very basic level, what do you think anybody can do to protect his data? Whether you're students or small business owners, how do you think we can protect our data online?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. So that's a really good question, Mohammed. And what I will say when it comes to protecting your data, one of the biggest things that you can do is understand that taking a self-assessment is really important. So if you were to ask yourself when it comes to the common practices, and you'll use some of the common frameworks that are out there, like OWASP. OWASP is OWASP. That is an organization that provides good templates, as well as NIST, which is the National Institute of Standards and Technology. What they do is they provide assessments to help you understand your presence. Are you using multi-factor authentication, or are you still operating in a 2000s, early 2000s framework where you're using just your username and password?
Right.
Do you have the same passwords for everything? Are your passwords actually meeting the new complexity standards? Are you securing your network devices in your homes from basic or default configurations? For example, most people actually get their wireless router from their ISP or their internet service providers. They plug it in, they use the password, and maybe change the name of the router, but they don't change anything else whatsoever. And that's why there's so many homes that are being hacked and so many identities are being stolen. Because it's not the ISP's responsibility. They actually give you this little, and it's almost insulting, but they give you this little like pamphlet thing that tells you all the key things you should do, but they don't actually walk you through it or help everyday individuals who aren't tech savvy to get walked through it. So ultimately, one of the big things that you can do is to increase your cyber presence. Start using things like your secure password managers. Start using things that you can develop on your own. Like for instance, you have KeePass. KeePass and LastPass are two of the major password managers that people know of. The good thing about KeePass is that KeePass requires you to download it, build a brief database that you attach to it, have a master password, and you can sync stuff to it. That shows the organization that you're trying to apply for or work with that you are willing to take those extra steps to have a standalone secure password manager or your own. Now, if you take the LastPass approach, LastPass is delivered for you, is delivered to every organization on the planet that can reach it. But that shows that you have the ability to have your own thought process of securing yourself on the opposite side of KeePass is doing the same thing, except taking the initiative to do it yourself. And so each one of those have value. Not one is truly better than the other. They each have their own value, but it's important for you to start taking those steps. And so, like I said before, you definitely send over questions to this platform, and if they have anything, they can send to me, and I could send some books and stuff out to everyone. I have no problem doing that, just so that you can start building up that presence.
Perfect. And I'm going to go and share my screen just for time's sake, but that is good information. And if you don't mind, Ron, can you drop your contact information? That link that you had on your slide, can you put it in the chat box? And then that way y'all can also message him offline with any additional questions. I just wanted to make sure we get to the last part before we go. We have a question of the day. This is our last question of the day. Can someone come off of mute and briefly answer this question? Anybody can. What are some unspoken rules of working in the corporate world? Sorry, I missed.
ATS system.
The ATS system. Yes, that is an unspoken rule. What's another unspoken rule of the corporate world? Unspoken rule.
Unspoken rule of the corporate world. Honestly, I would say the job description's experience is not necessarily accurate.
Thank you so much for saying that, because honestly, I'm serious when I say that has blocked a lot of people. It's blocked me several times. If you don't walk away with anything, remember that don't shut yourself down because of they want years requirements. You guys always remember that. You heard it from Ron. Do that. That is so important. That's a good one.
It is. I will say this just to kind of add in slightly. I've seen an individual who took a lot of steps
Mhm.
to just build themselves up. They didn't have a degree, they didn't have any technical skills when it comes to certifications, but they were amazing programmer, and they fell in love with programming. They spent so much time with it. I've seen a person like that apply for a job that required a bachelor degree or higher, and when they sat down, for some reason the HR recruiter sat down, brought them in, and it was because of everything that they put on their resume that wasn't part of the normal checklist items. And when they did that, the recruiter said, "Oh, I'm not sure if we get this position because you don't meet this and this," but they scheduled a meeting anyway. They scheduled a meeting, they sat with one of the IT department directors, and that person went from just studying at home to making six figures in an enterprise.
I wish I hope that in the future we have more stories like that. That is so powerful. I mean, just the fact that the person that was over that department, if they could just be present in the interview, it can make so much of a difference because they know exactly what to ask and they know what to listen for. So that is a great example, Ron. Thank you for that.
Can
And
I
also,
can I
ahead,
piggyback on
Nikki.
that?
Go ahead,
So
Nikki.
just to piggyback on what Ron said, that is where your digital portfolios also come into play. Because if you're doing things like that, like say if you've built out a computer from scratch or whatever, and say you decide you're gonna start a YouTube page to talk about what you're doing, or you've created a online kind of dartboard for those projects like that, that's all like an extension of your resume. Attach that when you send those emails, there should be links to all of that, just like there should be links to where to find you on social media. All of that counts. And also, like my unspoken rule is the best jobs aren't posted. The best jobs are word of mouth. That's why
true.
that is why you need to be involved in the conversations that are happening in your community, wherever they are happening.
That is so true. And Mohammed last week, he talked about building an online resume site, a website of your resume, with a video of you talking about what you do, your portfolio and all of that. So we got to step up our game. It's really competitive out there, but there's some ways we can stand out. So I just want to take this time to say thank you for everybody who spoke today. I can't thank you enough. Dr. T also on the behalf of the La Habra, not the La Habra Collective, I'm sorry, Advancing the Seed of La Habra, California, Labo Labs, and TCC Trinity River. We thank you so much for contributing to this platform and every other organizer who has helped so far as well. And we always end with a quote. This week's quote comes from William Shakespeare. It says, "The meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away." And that describes our speakers and presenters who have given their gift away to us. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Everyone have a great weekend. And thank you for tuning in to Toronet. Enjoy your summer. Bye.
Bye, guys.
All right, thank you.
Bye, everyone.